Assalamu alaikum, dear learners. I hope all of you are fine by the grace of Almighty Allah. Today, our discussion topic is completing sentence. In this grammatical pattern, you will be given some incomplete sentences where you have to use any appropriate phrases or words that will make a complete sense. Now, I'm going to talk about some grammatical structure which will help you to understand the topic. So let's start. We use so that or in order that to talk about purpose. For example, he studies attentively so that he can do well in the exam. Here you can see that there are two clauses. One is independent clause, another one is subordinate clause. In the sentence, the subordinate clause shows the purpose, and we have to use can or may plus base form of the verb in the subordinate clause if the main clause is in present tense. Another example is, he worked hard so that he could shine in life. Here you can see that the independent clause is in past tense. That's why we have written could plus base form of the verb in the subordinate clause. We have to say if the independent clause is in past tense, we have to use might or could plus base form of the verb in the subordinate clause. We use so something that to mention reason. Okay, for example, the man is so weak that he cannot work. Here, there is two clauses. One is independent clause, another one is subordinate clause. But in this type of sentences, the independent clause shows the reason. Here you can see that the man cannot work. Okay, so there is a reason. The reason is the man is so weak. Okay, so the independent clause shows the reason. Another fact is that if the independent clause is in present tense, you have to write cannot plus base form of the verb in the subordinate clause. Another example is the boy was so young that he could not understand the fact. Okay, you can see that the boy could not understand the fact. So there must be a reason. The reason is the boy was so young. Here, the independent clause shows the reason. And you can say, if the independent clause is in past tense, you have to use could not oblique might not plus base form of the verb in the subordinate clause. As if and as though are conjunctions, which we use to talk about a situation, how it seems to be. This type of situations are mainly imaginary. Okay, so for examples, it sounds as if it were a hammer. She spoke as though she had known everything. So here you can see that there are two clauses in this type of sentences. One is independent clause, another one is subordinate clause. But the subordinate clause are mainly imaginary. Now I'm going to give you more explanation. He speaks as if he were a doctor. Here you can see if the independent clause is in present tense, the subordinate clause will be in past indefinite tense. Okay, another example is she spoke as though she had known everything. Here you can see that when the independent clause is in past indefinite tense, the subordinate clause will be in past perfect tense. Infinitive is a non-finite verb. So we use infinitive to add more information. You can say it is modifier also. For example, he has decided to go there. He wants to write something. He tried to complete his work. Here, in these three sentences, you can see to plus base form of the verb. Some phrases are with a view to, look forward to, be used to, get used to, cannot help. If you want to use verb after these phrases, you have to add ing with the verb. Okay, so for examples, he came here with a view to meeting me. I cannot help following the rules. Here you have found that I have added ing with the verb.